Okay, let's start. I'm sure there will be more people join on the way. But now let's kick off this webinar. All right. So again, good morning and good afternoon to everyone. Depends on where you are. Okay, welcome to join this webinar. Okay, the topic is building a sustainable sourcing future for cane and cane sugar in Pakistan. All right, and this webinar is, jointly facilitated by Bonsucro and our local partner in Pakistan, AgNovate. All right, and we have 4 people. We are going to facilitate this webinar. We will introduce, briefly, one by one. All right. So for me, my name is Rick Lu. I'm the regional director for Asia Pacific in Bonsucro. I'm based in Singapore. All right. So my role is to provide on-site support to our stakeholders and the members in the region, in Asia Pacific region. All right. So then I will ask Nicholas, could you introduce yourself?
Yes, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Nicolas Viard. I'm the head of standard innovation at Bonsucro, and it's nice to see some of our friends in Pakistan present today.
Thank you, Nicholas. Yeah. Then Rafael.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rafael Seixas. I'm a membership manager at Bonsucro. I'm responsible for the governance of our membership network and to promote collaboration, particularly across buyer members, so the final users of sugarcane derived material. Thank you very much for joining and looking forward to the webinar today.
Okay, thank you. Then Dr. Zahir.
Yeah, thank you, Rick, and hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. I am Zahir, and I am representing AgNovate Consulting Pakistan Limited. I am you can say agronomist by profession, and I am a licensed, you can say we are the licensed Bonsucro trainers in Pakistan. And I am a certified Bonsucro trainer as well as a lead editor of a number of various, you can say, sustainability and quality standards. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Okay, so a couple of ground rules for this webinar. All right. So 4 of us, we will jointly present all the slides, and during our presentation, we will mute all the participants. However, if you have any questions, you can ask questions in written in the Q&A. Just click the Q&A and you can write your questions there. So our team, we'll try our best to answer your questions, during the presentation. All right. And when we finish the presentation, if time allows, we will, allow all of you to ask questions, on live verbally, and we will also answer the question verbally on live, right? Because the time limit is 2 hours for this webinar. In case there are any questions we are not able to answer within the webinar, we will do our best to answer in written, after the webinar. All right, to all the participants, because we have the email address from all of you. All right, so that's very simple ground rule. Thank you. So hope you can see the screen I shared. All right, so this webinar, it's about building a sustainable sourcing future for cane and the cane sugar in Pakistan. All right, and before we go to the slides here, I would like to express our sincere thanks to Coca-Cola team and the PepsiCo team, for your strong support to engage your supply chain to join this webinar. All right, I on the behalf of Bonsucro team and the AgNovate team, We really appreciate your great support to make this webinar happen. All right, so this is the outline for today's 2-hour webinar. All right, we will introduce, okay, what's Bonsucro, all right, and what value Bonsucro can offer. We will also touch the Bonsucro credits as well as you know, the global footprint and the impact from Bonsucro up to date. All right, and Dr. Zahir will, you know, explain, you know, why sustainability in sugar and sugarcane is important for Pakistan, right? And how to achieve that, right? What the value, okay, to players, okay, to members and stakeholders in Pakistan, okay, from Bonsucro. So this is a high-level outline for today's webinar. Okay, so now I hand over to my colleague Raphael, okay, to present the next couple of slides. Raphael, please.
Thanks, Rick. We can move to the next slide. So talking a little bit about Bonsucro. So Bonsucro is a global platform, and we have this aim of collectively accelerating the sustainable production and uses of sugarcane. We do that through many different strategies. Rick, if you can go through the next slide, please. So this is an image of our new strategy between this year and 2026. And it comes from that center aim of collectively accelerating production and use of sugarcane, but then built around the key sustainability pillars. So we have very specific objectives and strategies for economic value creation to sugarcane industry as a whole, the social aspects of sugarcane production, and also the environmental impact, so improving the environmental impacts of sugarcane. We're not going through the detail today of this to explain all the single strategies, but we have some slides to give you an overview of our priorities within those key areas. And I think one of the key points of this slide is to talk about the principles that drive Bonsucro, which are the four outer layer of this circle. So the principles of credibility, collaboration, inclusivity, and adaptability. So everything we do is guided by those core principles. Next slide, Rick. So first, looking at economic value creation, the objective is to create value in the supply chain. So this strategic objective is very much related to increase in supply and demand of certified sustainable sugar, ethanol, and other products. We're going to talk about several products today. Bonsucro also certifies, for example, the bagasse, a material that is transformed from bagasse, anything that can be made from ethanol or sugar, so several different types of chemicals, etc. So it's quite a broad array of products. We also want to make those supply chains more inclusive and sustainable, convene impact and innovation projects. So again, you know, Bonsucro as a collaboration network, we want to promote projects, collaborative projects. We see very positively when companies take action on sustainability topics by themselves. That's great, but we truly believe that if companies join together, they can get better results, more cost-efficient results, and faster as well. So we really think collaboration is key to improving sustainability in sugarcane. And finally, the objective of delivering value to members, which is at the core of Bonsucro. We are a membership-based organization, and we are always striving to deliver value to our members. Below, you can see some of our key targets for that 5 years period in this area. So we want to certify 2 million hectares of sugarcane annually and reach 210 certified mills. So to give you some context, right now, there is just above 1 million hectares of Bonsucro certified cane and 137 mills, if I'm not wrong. We also want to increase sales of certified material, and that means selling 2.2 million credits and 1.6 million tons of chain of custody sales. We also want to reach more farmers, so we work with mills that are, working directly with smallholder farmers, and we want to reach at least 15,000 farmers through our training program. And finally, we have a fund that is built from credit trades in Bonsucro. We're going to talk a little bit more about credit trades and the fund in other slides. And the objective is, this fund is being directed to projects and on the ground with mills and farms that are not yet certified but are in the process, and other innovation projects. And we hope to invest at least £5.4 million in the next 5 years. Next slide, Rick. So in terms of, sorry, I think we skipped one. Oh, going too far. Rick, can you go? Yeah, it's showing the SDG slides. You can go up to the environmental one. Okay, so, okay, okay, so this slide is about, sorry, it keeps moving here on my screen, sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so this, just very briefly on the environmental side, so we have priorities around greenhouse gases and water, greenhouse gas emissions, water, and biodiversity. So those are the topics we believe are most relevant for sustainability in sugarcane on the environmental side right now. And we set, because we have a metric-based system, our standard is collecting a lot of data. So we set very specific targets in terms of what we, as Bonsucro, want to achieve. So you can see we want to achieve at least a 30% reduction in scope 1 and 2 emissions of certified mills, and 30% increase in water use and efficiency of certified producers. And I think that that's a very important goal when thinking about Pakistan as well, and then the water related challenges. And then setting collective commitments and actions to achieve the Paris Agreement on climate change and to promote sustainable water management. We also are going to set a target for high conservation value hectares that are protected and maintained, but we haven't set that target yet. But the idea is land that has either economic, environmental, biodiversity, cultural/heritage value, those lands should be preserved. Next slide. On human rights, our priorities are around wages, health and safety, and respect for human rights laws. So we have targets around accident reduction in the farms and the mills, and targets around the wages, so the minimum wage at mills. And for all of them, you have the numbers there. We want to see an increase, the first one on the farm, the second one on the mill, over those next 5 years. We also want to promote collective commitments and actions on living wage. Is a very important topic that is gaining a lot of traction. So we also want to help our members on living wage, and collective commitments to promote the United Nations guiding principles on business and human rights. Next slide, Rick. So I mentioned our standard is very metric-based and we collect a lot of data. I think this slide is to show how Bonsucro and our standard are supporting the sustainable development goals. So we can see very encouraging results around greenhouse gas emissions, water. We can see, for example, that farms that are certified produce on average 8.6 tons per hectare more than those that are not. We can see, very encouraging accident reduction at farm and mill level. So yeah, I'm not going through everything, but I think it's just to give you a snapshot of how Bonsucro contributes to those broader goals and how we can measure and verify and communicate impact. So next slide, Rick. And finally, just in terms of the scale of Bonsucro, so currently we estimate that 27% of the land area growing sugarcane is either managed or owned by a Bonsucro member. So that's to say, if all Bonsucro members were Bonsucro certified, 27% of the global production of sugarcane would be Bonsucro certified. Right now, that's currently at 5%. So it gives you an idea of the trajectory there. And 20% of global purchasing of sugar is represented in Bonsucro. And here you can see some of our members in several different areas. So you have, of course, sugar users, ethanol companies, bioplastics and packaging, rum as well. So it's quite varied, and it's just some of them, is not all of them. So yeah, thank you, Rick. I'll hand over to you now. Thank you,
Raphael. Okay. So here I would like to talk about Pakistan on cane and cane sugar sustainability. All right. Okay. Pakistan, of course, it's a great country. Okay, I have been there once. I really love and enjoy their culture, the food, and people are so nice and friendly. I hope, I can come back to Pakistan again very soon. All right, given the, challenge of COVID-19, I really hope, to come to Pakistan again. All right, Pakistan, has a critical position on cane production and cane sugar production. All right, this country is the world's 5th largest sugar production country, just after Brazil, China, Thailand, and India. So you can see how critical and important its position in the cane and in the cane sugar supply chain globally. All right, and it's clear that in Pakistan, all right, there's increasing consumer awareness and consciousness about the sustainability issues, right? So that's, not only, right, the demand of the consumers, it's also a very clear, growing market demand, okay, from buyers. If we talk about, sourcing sustainably produced cane and then the cane sugar. All right, and on the other hand, looking at the right of the slide, Bonsucro, right? As Raphael, my colleague, has just shared, briefly, Bonsucro is a global network of stakeholders in sustainable cane and sugar value chains, and we only focus on cane and then the cane sugar. So that's really, our only focus, and that's also one big advantage for this global platform. All right, because we focus our resource on cane and the cane sugar only. Right, and we are a global platform, promotes collaboration among our stakeholders, okay, among the members. All right, so we have the advantage, to focus, utilize, the resource, okay, from directions from different stakeholders into one focus area, right, to support the direction of cane and the sugar sustainability, right. And also Bonsucro owns the most acceptable standards on cane and sugar sustainability. We will, explain this one later. But this is a very important feature for Bonsucro, right? We own a global standard on sustainability on cane and sugar, which is very well accepted globally. All right, so now we will share with you what Bonsucro offers. I will hand over to my colleague Nicholas.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you very much. And I can only second your thought about Pakistan, because as well I was with you when we visited Pakistan 2 years ago now, and it was just a great pleasure to discover the country and the people there. And I hope indeed we're going to come back very soon to support you and support the sugarcane sector. And to do that, we use the tool that Bonsucro are developing. Bonsucro is the global sugarcane platform So we are targeting and we're supporting the sugarcane sector exclusively. And we do that around 3 poles of activity. The first one being the global community. We create this global community of stakeholders interested in sugarcane, providing them insights, reports, connections within the sector and outside the sector to attract knowledge on how to tackle the most challenging sustainability issues, but as well recognizing and celebrating successes. And for that, we as well have 2 performance-related activities. Which one is performance improvements, where we help producers, farmers, and millers, but as well buyers and supply chain to bring sustainability into their practices and to start the journey of sustainability. That's what we did when we reached Pakistan 2 years ago. We were in the performance improvement objective, which then turned into a performance verification process where through the certification system, system that we maintain, we allow companies that reach the level set in the Bonsucro global standard to be recognized as sustainable, to achieve certification, and then to be able to sell their product as certified to the clients in the supply chain, traders and users of sugar, ethanol, and all byproducts, to recognize as well the effort made by the producers in achieving sustainability. Next. So the first one is indeed that global community. So through our regional team and Rick presents here, representing Asia Pacific, but as well through Africa and in Latin America, we have regional director. We have who are fostering and promoting this collaboration. They are your key central contact points to have information on Bonsucro, but as well on how to discuss your challenges and your objectives and how we can design with your plan of improvements to reach sustainability, to start implementing sustainable practices, to implement projects, and to attract as well funding and resources internally and externally to achieve your objectives. So we're really here to drive with you to our more sustainable future. And the community of Bonsucro really covers the whole supply chain and the whole value chain of sugarcane, from farmers to the end users, through the traders, and as well the civil society who bring their knowledge and understanding of the most challenging sustainability issues we want to tackle, but well a source of knowledge on how to implement projects on the ground. And we work as well with our partner, Dr. Zahir, who is here helping as well to have this local feel and local touch to support our members on the ground. So this network that we maintain is as well supported by an inside hub. So we, as we go and as we grow our experience and knowledge of sugarcane, Bonsucro has been active now for more than 10 years. We celebrate 10 years last year of existence. And we are now active in 19 countries. No, sorry, we have certification in 19 countries. We have members in more than 45 countries. So we begin to have those connections in this cross knowledge across region that might be very far away on the globe, but might face the same challenges. And so solutions might come from your neighbor, but as well might come from quite far afield. And Bonsucro being at the center of this community, we help that information to go through. And we organize events regularly to allow that communication and connectivity. So today, for example, is a very important event for us and for Pakistan, because it's the first time we have quite a wide range of stakeholders interested in Pakistan. And we begin to do those connections. You have buyers, you have producers. So now hopefully you will all know what Bonsucro is all about, and you will be able to exchange around the challenge and the objective of Bonsucro across Europe. And so begin to have this information sharing, and as well those knowledge allowing everyone to drive sustainability in Pakistan sugarcane sector. One of our actions we've done at the beginning of this very challenging time that we all suffered from, still enduring in many regions of the globe where COVID is still present and bring huge challenges, is to be reactive and to try to help as much as we could from our offices or home offices, as we are working from home, to provide information to the sector and to give some guidances on producers that but so much to face on as the pandemic started and to provide some guidance. So we used and we published a Bonsucro guidance based on the WHO guidance that was adapted from the WHO guidance, but as well that was enriched by concrete examples from some of our members on what they've done, on what they are doing, because we did it last year, so we published it in April or May last year, so it was really at the start of the pandemic, to get fresh information ready to hand for our members to react as quick as possible. We as well held 2 webinars around COVID on how members across the supply chain have adapted to the situation of COVID-19 and provide additional support on how smallholders and daily laborers have been impacted and how to mitigate those impacts, because they are the most damaging side of the population who have been impacted. So it is important to always remind ourselves that there is always people that will suffer more than what we might potentially suffer. So we have to shed a light and provide solutions and ideas on how to support and help the recovery. So this information is still available on the Bonsucro website for anyone who is interested in the recording of the webinars as well as being published. Next. And so through that, we provided some example, very concrete example directly taken from our members. Here it's a member in India, Decent Ram, who certified 5 meals last year on how they have adapted. We had as well example from Latin America, from Central America, and from Australia, providing experience on how meals of different sizes in different contexts, what they've done, how they've provided PPEs for the farmer and the workers, how they reorganize the physical distancing into all their different workshops, but as well as the canteen and the dormitories, how as well they supported local health structure by providing alcohol-based gels for the hands, but as well providing sometimes resources on how to manage respiratory challenges in their communities, not only linked to the workers, but in the community around the meals, and how they're providing a different set of checks for their workers, checking the status of the pandemic into their local area to adapt and to be very reactive, but as well to know when to relax the rules when the risk was less present. So it was really first moving to hear how the sugarcane sector has been a key actors into providing solutions to their local communities and their countries to weather the pandemic and to help the recovery as we're starting to start seeing it. And we are very grateful to work for such a great sector who are providing that immediate support to face the pandemic. Now, taking a little step back toward these communities as well to remind that Bonsucro is a very key actor in supporting the buying communities in achieving their sustainability objectives. And now more and more as we hear about Paris agreements, about the COP26 that will happen in a few months here in the UK, but as well commitment toward biodiversity, the buyers really have expressed their support toward Bonsucro as a way to achieve their own sustainability objective, but as well as to achieve the SDGs and other sustainability objectives globally. So they have made that commitment public some time ago, and all the buyers that are, which logo are on the left-hand side of the screen, have been signatory of that message to the producers saying, we are in it all together. We support Bonsucro as a market mechanism to drive improvement to supply chain, and we'll work and participate into Bonsucro programs to drive those sustainability and support the producers and farmers and millers into achieving sustainability. So our role is really to give the technical tool and the knowledge and the connection in making that a success, into really connecting always the buyers with the producers, so that there is this knowledge about what one needs, what is expecting, what support is expected as well, and how we can join forth to make a pre-competitive space where everybody can work toward addressing the most changing sustainability issues. So now we're going to look at the sustainability improvement and how we are developing tools to allow farmers and millers to drive and to improve their sustainability performance. So for that, we have key elements, and that's where I work a lot on a day-to-day basis, are the Bonsucro standards. So they are globally accepted standards that define the criteria for sustainability at the farm level, at the mill level, but as well how we trace the claim of sustainability in the supply chain, so that the buyer has confidence that certification meant achieving sustainability credential, and that everybody can rely on the Bonsucro seal. So when you see a Bonsucro logo on sugar or on ethanol, it means truly sustainability have achieved as defined within the sustainability standard. So the production standards is the most comprehensive standard that will define metric indicators and management indicators into that apply at the farm, at the mill level. Understanding that working in the context of smallholder farmers is very particular and is sometimes challenging to implement sustainability across a whole supply base made of smallholder farmers. Bonsucro has as well developed an adaptation of the production standard to the smallholder context. So in Pakistan, where you work a lot with smallholder farmers, this is this standard that you will mostly look at for the farmer and the farming component. So it's really an adaptation. We have reflected on what is the most pressing issues and challenges with smallholder farmers, how we can help smallholder farmers in driving and achieving sustainability, and we have adapted our standard for that. And chain of custody is really how we trace the claim across the supply chain from the millers to the end users. Next. So really the aim of those certification systems is to promote a measurable standard, as I defined those three standards, in what they define for key environmental and social impacts of the sugarcane production and primary processing, but as well recognizing the need for an economic viability. It's important. We have three pillars in sustainability: environmental, social, and economic. And when we define the sustainable standard, we always think of what is the value for the producers, what is the value for the farmers, what is the value for the supply chain, and ensuring that there is a return on short, medium, and long term into investing in sustainability. So this is key in our way of defining sustainability standards. Next. So the production standards really to really get the image and the information correct, look at the farm and the mill to demonstrate sustainability. For chain of custody, the mill will have to comply with chain of custody as well, how they are managing their mass balance volumes of cane coming in and sugar coming out, or ethanol coming out, or the byproduct coming out, and as well for any buyers in supply chain to track as well the volume that come in and out, and make sure there is not oversell of certified product, that we keep rigorous check in balance to ensure that there is no oversell of certified product, because when we're investing in Bonsucro certification, we're investing in a robust system, and we don't want people benefiting without really making the effort. So the chain of custody is here to have this check in place and making sure that there is never oversell of certified products compared to what has been produced. Next. So going into the detail, and we run sometimes training, it's 3 or plus more days of training to really get the nitty-gritty detail of the Bonsucro standards. So we're not going to do that here, but I wanted to give you the very highlight of what is in the standard of Bonsucro. It's really help the farmer and millers to measure and improve their production and productivity in key environmental and social impact. The standard is almost a risk assessment on what is the most important for the sugarcane sector, and we encourage farmers and millers to really look at those points and to tackle them. And they will tackle them when you become in compliance with what is required in the standard. It can be used for any kind of size of mills, as well the age of the mills. Old mills, new mills are eligible to become certified, can use the standard. The standard was developed as well for all those landscape of production and for farmers. So we have medium-sized farmers, big farmers, but as well smallholder farmers. So it's divided in 7 principles, 2 of which are optionals, and I'm going to explain them. So the first one is obey the law. The first principle is always comply with your local legislation, comply with those requirements. This is the key of sustainability, is complying with local legislation, which is really adapted to the local context. It is meant to support the objective as well every country have and to protect the country's objective and environmental social requirements. The second one is to look at the human rights. So everything that is, again, child labor, forced labor, again, discrimination, and respecting the rights for workers to join unions. But as well, all what is about labor standards, how we maintain and protect the health and safety of the workers that are working in the field, but as well working in the mills. They are, you know, the engine that helps the sugarcane mill to be processing, but as well for the cane to be harvested or cane to be planted. So we need to cater and to care for the workers in the standard help for that. The third principle, look at really the efficiency of production. In this way, we link a lot with the economic indicators. If you plant cane, you want to have a good quality cane with good sugar inside. When you receive cane at the mill, you want to be able to extract as much of the sugar you receive into the cane. So we are looking at those efficiency indicators, and they are mostly metric, and the metric were based on global benchmark, which is achievable by average mill. But as well in this indicator, we are going to look at the greenhouse gas emission footprint, which, as you might know and hear more and more, is getting a lot of visibility into the global discussion around the Paris Agreement. So these indicators allow you to have a very detailed and already predefined life cycle assessment that gives you good information on your footprint. Sorry, 1 minute. The fourth indicator, we look at the environmental sustainability. Here we will look at what are the most important points on which sugarcane might have impact by its activity and by growing sugarcane. So we look at how we can manage the biodiversity and all ecosystem services on and around the farm of sugarcane, but also on and around the mill. So what action the farmers and the millers can do to promote good stewardship of the biodiversity and the ecosystem services. We will as well look at here the management of the water resources, the quality of the water resources, but as well the quantity of fertilizers and pesticide and herbicide applied. We have included a list of banned agrochemicals, and those banned agrochemicals are removed because they have been internationally recognized and being very damageable to the health of the workers, but as well on the environment, water resources, bees, and as well aqua systems, aquifer, and water systems on and around the farm. The fifth principle, we look at how you manage resources to continuously improve. This is human resources with requirement for training, water resources with water use efficiency, the air quality around the farms, and soil resources, how as well you are managing soil analysis and application of herbicide fertilizer according to mostly fertilizer application according to the soil analysis. So all those elements we look at as well, how you're continuously looking at improving your system and your achievements. And we will look at as well here, there is a pure metric indicator on financial economic sustainability with an added value per ton of sugar or added value per ton of cane that comes out of the farm. And finally, the two additional indicators that are optional. The number 6 is if you want to become Bonsucro EU RED compliance, if you produce ethanol and you export it to the EU market for biofuel, we have been recognized as compliant with the EU European Union Renewable Energy Directive. This is what we call EU RED. So therefore, if you become Bonsucro EU RED compliant and certified, you will be allowed to export your ethanol for biofuel use on the European market. And the 7th indicator applies only in the smallholder standard, is how you organize and how the farmers are organized to promote compliance with the standards how there is extension services implemented, how there is training provided to the farm, how you verify compliance with the indicators by the smallholders, how you engage with the extension services that you might have implemented at your end. So all those indicators really drive sustainability towards the next step and is supported by a tool when I mentioned metrics, which is the calculator, and that we're going to see now. Next slide. So the calculator is really a tool that is very specific to Bonsucro, which was at the base, and that was that has been on now for 11 years. When we launched the first time the standard, is really a tool to collect data from your production landscape, from your production, and that will help to calculate compliance with the metric indicator of Bonsucro. So the objective is really for you at your mills, at your farms, all together with your teams to collect those information, to enter them into a calculator, and the calculator will do the calculation automatically, and you will be able to see your results, but as well to understand why you might not be in compliance with some of the metric indicators, because there is a detail of the calculation that really helps you to sometimes pinpoint where might be the reason for non-conformity, and therefore to drive your actions specifically on those points to become in compliance. So the calculator is an Excel-based spreadsheet, so it's easily accessible online, offline, can be shared with your colleagues, and everybody can work on those documents in preparation of the implementation of the standard, but as well later on the preparation of certification. And so, as we are speaking around the production standards, we are as well, for the moment, into the revision of our production standards. So it's a process that started in 2019, just before the pandemic hit, and that has been carried through up to now, and we are at the final stage of that consultation. So you end that process. So you might have seen through Bonsucro newsletters several communication around publication of drafts, call for comments into the standards. So we are nearing the end of the process. So we have gathered 15 international experts around Bonsucro to redefine what sustainability will look like in the next 5 years and how the Bonsucro standard should evolve to capture those future topics around sustainability. So we are at the second draft, so we have published 2 drafts already that have received a lot of comments from stakeholders across the globe. So through the 2 consultations, is more than 5,000 comments that were received and we have gone through, and that we are working through to adapt and to come to the next version of the standard, which hopefully will be published by the end of this year. So the standard is really looking forward, what will be the next needed sustainability improvement that we want to help the sugarcane to take part and to achieve. So there is, of course, a lot of question around the climate, there is a lot of question around the soil, a lot of question around the water stewardship, around human rights, around health and safety of workers. So all these elements have been reworked and readapted to where the sector is now and where the standards and the sector want to be in the next 5 to 10 years. So we are really excited by finalizing this process, and we believe that the working group made of leading experts, globally leading experts, representing all landscape of sugarcane production in different regions around the globe, are going to produce a very benefiting standard that will promote really sustainability across the board and really engage much wider the community of sugarcane producers that are supporting sustainability objectives. So stay tuned, register to the Bonsucro newsletter through the Bonsucro website so you can be made aware on when the next production standard will be released. Yeah. And in time of revising the standard, we were looking back as well on what have been the achievements of the producers that have achieved certification. So every year we publish an outcome, what we call an outcome report, which is a bit the story of the successes of our certified members, but as well an analysis of the metric data that we collect through the calculator. So now we've got 10 years of data from when the first mill was certified in 2011 in Brazil. and we have 137 certified mills across the globe. So we begin to collect a lot of information about what is happening in the certified mills. And this is basically a snapshot of the successes and what is happening at the certified mills. We see that there is a decrease overall after 5 years of certification of 18% of the GHG emissions per kilogram of sugar. So sugarcane mills and farmers working together alongside the certification are decreasing their GHG emissions. In Brazil, we have analyzed that there has been a decrease by 25% of the fuel consumption, diesel consumption at the farm and mill level over certification. In Brazil as well, where we have a lot of data, and that helps us to have a global benchmark for us on what happens when you implement the standard. Certification of certified farms have demonstrated that they produce on average plus 11.5 tons of cane per hectare compared to non-certified farms. So this is a huge differential between non-certified farms and farms that have achieved certification and have maintained certification. But more sugar at the end and more productivity for the sugarcane farmers. In the term of water use efficiency, which is a very important and critical element in Pakistan, we've seen that there's an increase by 28% of the water use efficiency. It means the quantity of cane that is produced for every millimeter of irrigated water that is added on the cane. So the data we have collected demonstrate that. Globally, we've seen as well in the health and safety of farmers, there was a decrease by 38% of the accidents on the certified farms and 18% decrease in accidents in the certified mill globally. And in Brazil as well, further research has demonstrated there was a decrease by a difference of 80% less accident in certified mills versus the non-certified mills. And finally, in Brazil as well, we saw a decrease by 20% of the water bill of certified mills through the efficiency and the improvement that have been done alongside certification. You know, it's a complex process. We don't say that only because you become certified, you will have all the successes, but we see there is a change in the mindsets, increase into the knowledge, a research for efficiency that is driven and supported by certification that lead to those improvements into the certified operations. Next. And so as well, we carried out a study, two studies, in fact, one in Brazil and one in India, on looking what is the benefit of Bonsucro certification and how we can really drive value for the farmers and millers that are committing to certification and to sustainability. So key value was demonstrated that the Bonsucro calculator is indeed adding value because it helps operations to collect data and to have a framework and a tool on how to collect data in a consistent way every year, and to be able then to have benchmark activities. So you start to collect regularly the same data, so you will be able to analyze them. As well, the operation and the safety levels have been positively affected in the certified operation. So this is very important in driving and making the case for certification, but as well, you know, demonstrating to your clients that you are doing the good bits by implementing the Bonsucro standard and that you are driving safety into your workforce. And there is as well improvement and benefits into the labor conditions, enhancement in productivity, reduction in water usage, and of course allowing as well of GHG emissions. So all those benefits that can be brought forward to the farmers and millers to give the reason why should we do it, or why should we implement Bonsucro? Because we can help our workers, because we can improve our efficiency. This is good for the business and it's good for our long-term benefits and achievements. So, and for that, we have as well a series of tools that help you to, and that we are going to help you to improve, is as well, so those global standards, but as well Bonsucro Connect, Bonsucro Calculator, and a series of digital tools that we are working on implementing. So we just launched the sugar mapping with Fertilizer, our technical and digital partner. We're working as well on how to digitalize further the calculator and the information collected from the calculators. And we are providing regular technical support. We've provided, when we are doing in Pakistan, we have provided deep technical support to our partners there, to Almoiz and Talamil, where they were reflecting on the implementation of the standard. And we have collected some information that we had, and we share that information through capacity building and training, but as well through the session today, some more in-depth technical training that our partners might provide, and so on. So we are really here on your side to achieve those improvements. Next. And so for that, we are really driving the implementation of accelerator plans. And Pakistan is really a key and strategic country for us. And we are really welcoming the uptake and the surge in interest in Bonsucro. And our role is to build program with you to see how we can activate and accelerate the implementation of sustainability and or tackling your key sustainability objectives. You know, if the country has objective on social or environmental sustainability, we can as well really drive and work on those specific points, as well as having an approach that is across sustainability through the implementation of the standards. So we have now experience, tools, partners that help us to achieve that. Next. And so at the end, we have performance verification, which is all the process of certification. We can go to the next one. Which is about the process. Next. Yes, that is around certification. So we train a pool of certification bodies, and we license certification bodies who are independent from Bonsucro, and will come and do the verification at the mill. Most of you are well aware of audits. It doesn't really change with Bonsucro, especially to the different that the audit for Bonsucro is carried out by auditors that are trained for Bonsucro and by Bonsucro on an in-depth knowledge of the standards. And the process is managed and is developed or framed by Bonsucro. So they will carry out a Bonsucro audit. The list of licensed certification bodies is available on our website. And the audits will really look at the implementation and how your achievements and how you can demonstrate compliance with the requirement of the standard. Once you get certified, it is where everything becomes more interesting. You will be able to sell your certified product as certified, and sell them and to find clients who want to purchase certified sugar, certified ethanol, but as well you will have access to the Bonsucro credit trading platform, which is another way to sell your certified volume, which is not sold as physical shipments, but through credits to companies who might not be your physical clients, but might be interested in demonstrating support to your achievement by buying your credit of production. So the platform is automatic, is as well accessible to Bonsucro members and through our website. And that would really put in direct connection the buyers and the sellers through some bidding process. And automatic registration. So it's really accelerate and facilitate the trade of certified product. And we see now that in the trade of certified product, 50% of the volume are made through credit trade and 50% are made through physical trade. So it's really equally important for millers to understand and to access those markets, and for the buyers to know they have now several avenues to achieve certification purchase and certified purchase, and to engage with their producers to reward them for achievements and the success of being certified. And as well, we are working with, as I was mentioning, with our local partners to develop some improvement program and targeted program to implement sustainability at a specific scale. And on that, I will give back the screen to Raphael.
Thank you, Nicola. So yeah, so just a note to say I've been answering some questions on the Q&A, but I've left some unanswered on purpose because I think they are good questions and we can maybe respond to them at the end so everyone can hear the answer. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the global impact of Bonsucro in terms of reach in particular. So you can see there on your screen the graphs of the number of chain of custody certified companies. And those are traders, refineries, distilleries, intermediary companies that are buying and selling, processing and selling sugarcane material. And we see a very steady increase. The data there is up to 2019, but of course we have a more recent data, but we put that this is coming from our outcome report. So we decided to use this graph because you can look at that report and read the report if you want to understand the background. We also see a huge increase in certified mills. 2019 we had 128 certified mills, and this year we reached 137. So yeah, I think a lot of it is explained by market trends and demand. As I mentioned, sugar and ethanol are very important. So the bulk of sugarcane processing goes into sugar and ethanol, and we see a lot of the sugar and ethanol buyers committing to Bonsucro and wanting their product certified. But it's also due to other markets that are being created, like bioplastics, paper and fiber products from bagasse, animal feed, etc. So there's a lot of different sectors in the market that are looking into sustainability and seeing Bonsucro as a tool to demonstrate sustainability. Next slide, Rick. So here you can see our coverage worldwide. So all the countries in green is where we have members. If I'm not wrong, as of today, we have members in 57 countries, 280 members in 57 countries. And all the countries where you see the Bonsucro certification mark, those are countries where we have production certification. And on the right side of your screen, you can see the numbers, the volumes that are produced per region. So Brazil is by far our biggest market, over 2 million tons certified, but we see a lot of growth in other areas, particularly in India, in Mexico. We just had actually the first certifications in Pakistan, so that's very exciting, and we're expecting growth as well in Pakistan. We have a certification in Mauritius, in Africa, and are working in other African countries as well to promote certification. But yeah, I think Brazil and Latin America is where we've seen the biggest early growth. But now I think a lot of it is coming from Asia as well.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Rafael. Okay, yeah, as we have highlighted, okay, Bonsucro is a global network, all right, and we also, you know, push our impact, okay, as a global platform, all right, by working together with our stakeholders. Collaboration, you know, is the most important approach, all right, to jointly enhance such kind of impact, okay, against the, you know, this global platform of Bonsucro. Here I highlight, you know, two excellent examples, okay, from, you know, many examples, okay, globally. This first impact program, okay, is for Bonsucro to collaborate with PepsiCo, Nestle, Fairgra, and the mills in Thailand. All right, it's an 18 months project. So I believe, you know, all the people here know very well. Okay, same as Pakistan, Thailand is also a key cane origin, plays you know, critical role in the cane and the cane sugar industry globally. But there are a lot of challenges from a sustainability perspective. Okay, the Thai mills and the farmers they are facing. So actually, this project, all right, it's collaboration between PepsiCo, Fairgra, Nestle, Mipong, and also TRR. You know, a number of mills are involved. So against, you know, the platform of Bonsucro, right, we work together to develop, you know, a digital mobile tool, right, for smallholder farmer capacity building. All right, so the smallholder farmers, okay, can easily use their mobile phone, right, to assess their current situation against, you know, the Bonsucro standards. Also, you know, that the mills or the third-party organization can utilize the digital, you know, with this mobile platform to identify the needs of training for the smallholder farmers, and then offer the training, you know, digitally, right? So this is, you know, a great step forward, particularly under COVID-19 situation, all right, to provide a remote support to the smallholder farmers in, you know, who produce cane, okay, in Thailand. And actually this tool has the potential to be rolled out, you know, to other countries as well, all right, if, you know, it can be translated to other languages. So it's a great example, okay, of collaboration between the buyers, you know, against the Bonsucro platform, by collaborating with the milling organizations. All right. So this is one example for Thailand, and these are two quotes from two farmers. Okay, from Thailand. Okay, of course they are the, you know, cane production farmers. Another great example I want to highlight here. Actually, it happened in Pakistan. All right. So it's a collaboration between our MOIS group, IFC, International Finance Corporation, and the Bonsucro. All right, it's a project lasted 12 months with the budget over $60,000 US. All right. So I also, you know, took the chance together with Nicholas, you know, came over to Pakistan. All right, this beautiful country, and visited a number of mills, also quite some smallholder farmers. It's a great experience. So as I mentioned, Pakistan plays a critical role in the global supply chain for cane and cane sugar. All right. Of course, there are, you know, quite some challenges, okay, for the mills and the smallholder farmers. Given that smallholder farmer is still dominating the cane production in the country. It's different from, you know, the farms in Brazil or in Australia, right? So the challenges actually is quite unique from a smallholder perspective. All right. So for this project, 3 organizations, all right, Bonsucro, IFC, and our MOIS team, we really work very closely. Okay, we can say almost seamless. All right, Dr. Zahir is also part of the team at that time. We supported 2 mills and our MOIS team to, you know, start the journey of Bonsucro certification. And, you know, we successfully achieved the certification for these 2 mills in 1.5 year time. All right, they passed the audit in January this year. So this project has a great success. I'm sure a lot of team members are also presenting now in this webinar. So it's great to meet you here again. This is a great example, all right, for the collaboration between a financial investing organization, a milling organization, you know, and a global platform of Bonsucro. All right, we run the jointly, okay, the gap assessment for the mills, for the farmers. We run the physical class training in Pakistan, okay, for mills team and IFC team, right? And we have, you know, monthly base conversations, all right, you know, to support from a technical perspective, all right, the 2 mills to move forward based on their setup aligned action plan. All right, so definitely this model can be duplicated to, you know, other mills and in Pakistan. All right, of course, also other countries as well. So this is another excellent example for Pakistan I'd like to share here. Okay, now I hand over to Raphael again.
Thank you, Rick. Yeah, so just talking a little bit about sustainable sugarcane bioplastics. So this is something very recent. for Bonsucro and for sugarcane that started happening. So next slide, Rick. So right now we have regulations coming up in Europe and the United States, in particular around single-use plastic bans. So basically, you cannot use packaging or produce products that will end up as a single-use plastic. And because of that and other regulations as well, we see a lot of global brands committing to more sustainable plastic. So if you look at their commitments, a lot of them will have a target to eliminate some of the plastic or replace plastic with other materials. But then for the plastic that cannot be replaced, because plastic is still a very important material for conserving food, for example, or for protecting goods. So for that, they are switching to non-fossil plastic. And I think it's a huge opportunity for sugarcane. Sugarcane is very efficient in converting solar energy into chemical energy. It has a very low GHG emission balance, and because of that, if you compare to fossil-based material, there is a lot of benefits of climate-related benefits to use sugarcane bioplastics. So we also see a change in consumer behavior towards more sustainable products, and an expectation from consumers that the companies are playing their part. So when I buy something in a supermarket, I expect the company producing that product to have in mind those climate targets. And that is leading to a growing demand for more sustainable packaging that is bio-based, recyclable, and/or compostable to minimize the impact of plastics in the environment. Next slide, Rick. So how Bonsucro can help? So currently, we have been supporting the suppliers of bioplastics. There are currently 2 producers of sugarcane-based bioplastics. One is a company called Braskem in Brazil, and the other one is Total Corbion in Thailand. So Braskem produces polyethylene from ethanol, and Total Corbion produces polylactic acid from sugar. So polyethylene is usually used for harder materials, and PLA, polylactic acid, is used for softer applications. We have been engaging buyers and supply chains, and I think one of the highlights here is Tetrapak. So they are a Bonsucro member and they are certified themselves, and they have committed to using sustainable sugarcane bioplastics in their products. We have already supporting several bioplastics and packaging supply chains. A lot of it is in Asia, including in Japan, but in China as well, in Thailand. So I think Asian countries have a huge role to play. A lot of the packaging development and supply chains involve Asian companies. We're also creating awareness in the market through webinars and events and promoting biomaterials from sugarcane. And then in terms of certification, of course, Bonsucro certification can be used to communicate credible information to consumers and partners and to help differentiate products. And I think a lot of people say, bioplastics are great. They are better than fossil plastics. They can achieve climate targets. But then if you are producing bioplastics and you're not taking care of the environmental impacts of sugarcane or the social challenges and risks of sugarcane production, then there is no point, right? You're benefiting or achieving climate targets at the expense of workers or pollution, for example. So that's where certification comes in, because then you can demonstrate that not only you're producing a product that helps achieve climate targets, bioplastics, but you also ensuring that the feedstock used for those bioplastics is sustainable. Next slide, Rick. So here we have the Tetrapak Carton. This is produced with polyethylene and is available everywhere. I think the Tetrapak has the communication translated in over 20 languages. And you can see the carton, so basically the lid at the top and the inner fumes of the carton are made of sugarcane bioplastics, and you can see the Bonsucro certification mark there at the bottom. So yeah, I think that's a great experience and something that it's picking up as well as gaining a lot of momentum. Thank you, Rick.
Doctor, now I hand over to you. Zahir, doctor.
Thank you, Rick. Hello, everyone, once again. And well, after listening to Rick, Rafael, and Nicholas, my job here is to assure and convince our sugar industry people in Pakistan that all these novel and fancy things which were once happening elsewhere in the world, they have already entered Pakistan sugar industry. And at least 2 mills, they have demonstrated that all these indicators and criteria, they are equally doable, practical, and implementable in Pakistani conditions. So I'll be discussing why sustainability in sugarcane or sugar production in Pakistan and how it can be achieved. Rick? Well, we'll be covering this topic under these 4 sections: sustainability challenges, then how to respond to these challenges, and role of Bonsucro certification to meet these challenges, and then benefits of sustainability to farmers. So these will be, you can say the subheads that we'll be discussing in this short presentation. Rick? Well, we start with the sustainability, sugarcane sustainability challenges. Yeah, Rick, we can move forward. Well, as we all know, that sustainability actually has 3, you can say, pillars: social, environmental, and economic. And we'll be discussing the issues of sugarcane sustainability under these subheads. So starting with economic challenges. So we know that we have low resource use efficiency, then global standards. That's actually a burden on our cost of production. That is mainly coming from a few you can say sub-factors, like water consumption per ton of sugarcane is nearly double the global benchmark. Then fertilizer and pesticide consumption is also lopsided. And then we are using high energy consumption per ton of sugar production, and low sugarcane yield recovery averages in Pakistan compared to what we can realize or what is being achieved in some other parts of the world. Then looking at the environmental challenges, we are actually emitting more GHG per ton of sugar production. And just to give you, you can say, this fact that all the data that will be presented in this presentation, they are actually, you can say, the outcome of our 2.5 years experience, or you can say 2.5 years of work doing on sustainability in particular and Bonsucro sustainability in Pakistani conditions. So we are emitting more amount of GHG per ton of sugar, and which of course is a burden on environment. And some of the contributing factors, they are, we know that in many cases, the irrigation water is being pumped using the diesel tube wells. Of course, burning of diesel, it contributes to GHG emission. Then the impact of high fertilizer usage per ton of sugarcane production, and less efficient means of transportation from field to mill. So this actually means that how much diesel is being, you can say, consumed in transporting per ton of sugarcane from field to the mill. So then there are issues related to, of course, waste disposal at industry and farm level, crop residue management, and we all know that trash burning is common in Pakistan. So that's a big negative for the environmental, you can say, sustainability. And then overall environmental stewardship, and that includes biodiversity and other related issues. And when we look at the social challenges, then of course we have challenges like work conditions and workers' rights. That includes issues of child, bonded and forced labor, and then wages, work hours, and work environments. So the bottom line message for this, you can say, slide is that in under Pakistani conditions, these 2 pillars, environmental and economic factor, these pillars, they actually support each other. They synergize each other, because improving environmental factor can only be achieved through resource use efficiency, at least under Pakistani conditions. That's true for many parts of the world, but for Pakistan, it's it's a must that we have to improve the environmental factor by improving the resource use efficiency, and that actually complements the economic, you can say, gains which are realized from sugarcane cultivation or sugar production. Can we move, Rick? No, this is just to give you an idea. These are input, you can say resource use efficiencies. We are paying for them. We are paying for them in terms of productivity. This is just a comparison of Pakistan versus Australia. So, the bar diagram that shows the sugar yield in terms of tons per hectare, and the line that shows sugarcane production in terms of tons per hectare basis. So in both cases, we are far behind, you can say, because the Australia is taken as an example where the resource optimization is at its best. Okay, can we go forward? This is just another, you can say, face of the same picture that here we can see the sugar revenue on per hectare basis in dollar terms. So here too, we can see that, our resource use efficiency is actually hitting us in economic terms, in the profitability of the sugar manufacturers as well as the sugarcane growers. So, yeah. Now, when we know that what are our challenges, then the next question is how to respond to the sustainability challenges. Please move forward. Yeah, this is, you can say, a roadmap to sustainability under the Pakistani agricultural, social, and economic conditions. So we understand, and as I said, this is on the basis of our experience under Pakistani conditions, that there are three major milestones in our journey towards sustainability. We have to identify the gaps, plan for improvement, and then remove barriers. So if you talk about identifying the gaps, that includes, as Nicholas also mentioned, the diagnostic, where do we stand? And then we have to set the targets. In this case, Bonsucro standard, that will help us, because Bonsucro standards, they provide quantitative targets. So knowing where do we stand and knowing the targets, we can, you can say, we can ascertain the gaps that we have to bridge. The next step is, of course, plan for improvement. And that includes, making a corrective action plan. And then, this may be true for any sustainability standard, but particularly for Bonsucro, or when we talk about sustainability in sugarcane, it is very critical because that goes beyond the manufacturing site. The sustainability, when we talk about sugar business sustainability, we talk about upstream, stakeholders as well, like growers. So this cannot be achieved under business as usual conditions, and we definitely have to undertake some change managements at the mill level as well as at the farm level. So some kind of organization, some kind of structural arrangements have to be made. A holistic change management program is required for mills as well as farms. Then the next step is, when we know that these are the gaps and we have, you can say, an infrastructure and machinery to bridge those gaps, the next step is remove the barriers or roadblocks. And in this case, the biggest, or you can say the most important roadblock or barrier is the grower. We have to convince the grower on economic benefits of compliance, because as you know, that the most important convincing factor in agricultural extension is profitability of the farmer. It's actually the crop economics, which is the very basis for convincing the farmer to adopt a new idea, a new practice, a new protocol, or anything. So that is required. We have to convince the grower. And the other thing is that participation in sustainability program is volunteer. So voluntary participation always needs some benefits to be demonstrated to the participants, be it social, economic, or you can say any kind of benefit. In this case, since we are dealing with the growers, so the most important factor is the economic factor. So we have to align the sustainability with the growth. And that is true at both levels, at the farm level as well as for the mill level. That's actually, you can say, how we can remove those barriers or roadblocks in our journey towards sustainability. The message here is that sugarcane sustainability can be achieved by improving input use efficiency, thus leading to high profits. And that actually is a win-win scenario for different stakeholders. That's true for the mill as well as the growers and other employees of the mill and workers at the farm. For everybody, it's a win-win situation. Can we move forward, Rick? Now, the next question is that how Bonsucro certification helps to meet sustainability challenges. Yeah, okay. Here, I have, a few examples to quote. And as I said, that these are outcome of our experience of working with 2 sugar mills in Pakistan who are actually, the first to become Bonsucro certified. So we see that agronomic efficiency is the key to sugarcane sustainability in Pakistan. So I'll be sharing few examples with you, and those examples, they will be, what is the sustainability requirement, or what is, you can say, the target that we have to achieve to for the sake of sustainability, and is there any agronomic concept aligned with it, attached with this? Where do we stand right now? What is the as-is position in Pakistan? What is the global benchmark? And then what's the agronomic solution to overcome that challenge? And what are the benefits in terms of agronomic and economic terms? So let's start with the example of water consumption. So the requirement is that the water should be consumed most judiciously. That's, the basic sustainability requirement. And that's more so important for Pakistan, more than any other country in the world, because we know that we are already categorized as water deficit country, and the amount of, good quality blue water is diminishing day by day. The agronomic concept which is attached to it is more crop per drop. Now, where do we stand right now? So right now we are consuming 250 liters of water to produce 1 kilogram of sugarcane, whereas the global benchmark is 111 liters of water for 1 kg of sugarcane production. So, that gives us the stage where do we stand right now. We are consuming more than double of the global standard. Now, the agronomic solution for this is irrigation scheduling. And irrigation scheduling, we get agronomic benefits as well, because we know that too frequent irrigations, once the field is flooded, the growth stops for a certain period of time, and growth only happens when soil moisture is at field capacity level. So too much irrigation is hitting us both ways. It's a burden on cost of production, and it is restricting the growth instead of promoting the growth. So the economic benefit out of it would be, higher yield per irrigation cost. Then next, we take the example of soil test-based fertilizer use. And particularly, I'll talk about fertilizer and fertilizer phosphorus ratio. We have an agronomic concept which is aligned with it. That's balanced use of fertilizer, and we talk about this balanced use of fertilizer on a daily basis. The condition, or you can say, our current state of affair is that we are using phosphorus, which is less than what is recommended for our soils, and we are using nitrogen more than what is recommended for our soils. The global benchmark is that nitrogen to phosphorus ratio should be on the basis of soil test basis, soil test values. So why that is important? Because this is balanced fertilizer application is important for all the nutrients, K included. But we are here, talking only about nitrogen and phosphorus. The reason being that nitrogen is the biggest contributor to our GHG, because it emits a lot of greenhouse gases while it is being manufactured or produced. And then again, if it is not properly used in the soil, So that's why, nitrogen to P ratio is very important, so that whatever nitrogen is applied to the soil, it is properly consumed for growth of the crop, and it's not, available for GHG emissions. The agronomic solution for this is that we should base our fertilizer recommendations on soil test basis. Now, it will definitely have an advantage in terms of, we'll be able to avoid the negatives of excessive nitrogen use. Some of them, they include lodging incidents. We know that excessive nitrogen, that delays maturity, so lodging incidents. And then, of course, production of non-productive tillering, which is once again a sink for the plant system, and it does not give any economic benefit to the farmer. When we look at its economic advantage, of course, higher profit for farmers and high sugar recovery for mills. Then take the example of pesticide use. The agronomic concept is integrated pest management. The Pakistani, you can say, condition right now is that we are using on average more than 8 kg active ingredient per hectare of pesticide per year. Whereas the global benchmark is that it should be less than 5 kg active ingredient per hectare per year basis. There is an agronomic solution once again here, and that is improved pest control. As I talked about IPM, integrated pest management. And then, of course, inclusion of some biocontrol, like, the beneficial insects. And then one thing that we observed was that in most of the cases, because since this sugarcane is vegetatively propagated, so if the seed is infested with insect or disease, definitely the resultant crop would also be infested. So these are, the concept that we can use to take care of this challenge. And then, of course, its agronomic advantage would be improved growth due to better pest control and biodiversity management. And then, of course, high profit in economic terms due to improved yield and reduced cost of production. Now, last but not least, and these are only the 4, you can say, examples out of many sustainability indicators. We can do this kind of analysis for all the indicators, but these were the critical and relatively more important. So last in the list is crop residue should be should be recycled in the soil, and there is, of course, an agronomic concept, and that's soil fertility improvement or management through residue recycling. The condition right now is that there is less than 5% cases where that residue is recycled back into the soil. And I'm particularly here talking about sugarcane. More than 70% of the sugarcane trash that is burnt in the field, and remaining is removed from the field to be used elsewhere as a fuel or fodder, etc. The global benchmark is that more than 30% of the fields, they should have the ground cover of the crop residues. Then, of course, we can manage it through sugarcane trash management in the field. And some of the advantages, agronomic advantages, they include that we'll be able to avoid disadvantages of trash burning for environment and soil fertility. And then, of course, mulching effect for weed control. And if we look at the economic benefits, so these agronomic benefits, they are translated into economics. But I would like to mention here, pure economic disadvantage of burning the trash, because we analyze that in an area with the 800 mons per acre yield, or you can say 80 tons per hectare millable yield, we are actually, because the trash which is produced by 800 mons per acre sugarcane yield, it contains nitrogen, which is equal to 1.5 bag of urea, phosphorus, which is equal to 0.75 bags of DAP, and potash, which is equivalent to 1.2 bags of SOP per acre. So that roughly means rupees 12,000 to 15,000. So when we burn a trash of 800 mons per acre, so we actually burn 12,000 to 15,000 rupees with it. Rick? Yeah. Now, the benefits of sustainability to farmers. That's our last section. Rick? Yeah. Now, as I said, that this is the most important question. to convince the farmer to become a part of this program and to participate in this Bonsucro campaign or sustainability campaign, because we know that this is volunteer and he is the key actor. So the first question that he would ask is, what is in it for me? That's a basic question for a volunteer program, and that's a basic question for any, you can say, innovation as far as agriculture extension is concerned. Now, in this case, our biggest, you can say, pitch point is that resource efficiency improvement would bring more yield and improve soil productivity. So what we have observed in our experience, that about more than, you can say, 30% higher profits under Pakistani conditions when we are able to, improve our resource efficiency and we achieve those sustainability targets. The, you can say, productivity or higher profit is, you can say, the byproduct. And of course, that is the language that is well understood by the farmers everywhere in the world. Now, the next point is that better health and safety for farmers, their families and workers. Of course, it's not just, the profit. When we adopt or implement the sustainability factors, that also means, better living conditions for the farmers and their families and the farm workers and the mill workers. And then, of course, there is another important factor, which is individualized and prioritized advisory from mill's field team. Because when, those smallholder or large farmers, they join Bonsucro program, and of course, the mill's extension team, they will have to keep a liaison, a very strong liaison with them. They have to train them and they have to visit them maybe more frequently than the ordinary or normal farmers. So they will be, that will be another plus point for them, that they will be receiving an individualized and prioritized advisory. And then above all, peace of mind by obeying national and international laws and regulations. So as a bottom line, we can say that on an overall basis, if farmers, they join this sustainability program, they will continue to cultivate sugarcane in a structured way to ensure higher profits, social upkeep, and healthy working environment. Rick? So very briefly, this is our AgNovate score team. And we are, our team that consists of local agronomists, international agronomists, then IT specialists and financial experts. And two of us, that is myself and Saad, we are certified Bonsucro trainers. And our company is the only licensed trainer company in Pakistan for Bonsucro. Our strength is that we know Bonsucro standard and their requirements, certified as certified trainers and licensed trainer company. Then we know Pakistani lands, culture, and social environment. And we have the experience of aligning international benchmarks of sugarcane sustainability with local economic, environmental, and social conditions. As Bonsucro team mentioned, that the two mills that have so far certified in Bonsucro, we actually worked with them, and we were part of that team that was able to achieve that certification. Rick? To conclude, gentlemen, we can say that sustainability of sugar industry in Pakistan that depends upon sustainability of sugarcane. And Bonsucro certification system provides an integrated roadmap for achieving the both. With that, thank you very much. Thank you, Rick. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Okay, so we have a couple of slides left, and then we will be open for questions. All right. So what's the value? It's a summary. All right. It's highlighted already by the facilitating team. Okay. Here is a summary. Of course, the value is from both social and the commercial perspective. All right. So it's a global trend. The sustainable sourcing of agriculture ingredients, and cane definitely is one critical, agriculture ingredient globally. All right, and join Bonsucro will join the network. Will catch up the global trend, understand the latest development in the world, which I think is very important in today's business environment. All right, and it's able to, you know, access to a global resource from you know, because it's a global networking and a global platform, right? For the millers, all right, and the buyers, you know, it's sustainability, all right. It's a great vehicle, right, to promote your company and the brand, okay, regionally and globally. Enhance your competitiveness, not only, you know, country-based, but also regional and global base. Increase your market potentials, right? Because the sustainable sourcing of ingredients is a global trend and no one can stop. Okay, there will be more and more market demand, okay, for certified sugar. That's for sure. It's a clear trend already. Okay, and it's important to demonstrate your leadership, okay, your company's leadership in sustainability, right, which is a critical pillar of current, okay, business. Improve the productivity, as Nicholas and the Dr. Zahir have shared, okay. You know, achieving Bonsucro standard, it's a great help to improve, you know, the productivity for both the mills and the farmers. Okay, be ready for challenges in coming around in the future, and assess a suite of tools to help your sustainability. Of course, as Dr. Tahir also mentioned, it also helps farmers a lot, all right, reduce the inputs and manage costs, increase yields, improve working environment, improve motivation, right, enhance the win-win partnership with mills, improve soil, water, right? Also, you know, farmers are part of the communities, mills are also part of the communities, right? So join Bonsucro, right? Join the sustainability journey will help protect the local resources, okay? Protect and improve the environment, strengthen the rural development, working conditions, etc. Improve, you know, the relationships, okay, among all the parties involved in the local community, right? So this is a summary, and also our members, okay, who have achieved the chain of custody certification, a lot of them now have using Bonsucro logo and the claim to enhance to claim, okay, in their packaging, all right, to enhance their competitiveness in the market, okay, to show their, you know, competitiveness and efforts on sustainability, all right, and then more and more, you know, consumers actually, they appreciate, you know, the companies, the brands, okay, who put into more efforts into sustainability, all right. So this is, as I mentioned, it's been a global trend already, all right. So Raphael, I hand over to you to explain the credit.
Thank you, Rick. So yes, very briefly on the credit trading. So just going back a bit on how certification works. So as you know, the mill needs to certify parts of their land, right, to be able to produce certified material. So to give you an example, let's say a mill certified 10% of their farming area. It could be their own area or with independent farmers. Let's say that 10% is certified, which means that 10% of the sugar they produced at the end will be considered Bonsucro certified. Now they have two options. They can sell the physical certified sugar through a mass balance, chain of custody certified supply chain. So the physical product moving to a certified company, or they can sell their credits to a Bonsucro member. The credits are the same in principle as the certified products, but they work in a book and claim system. So one credit equals 1 ton of a given product. So for example, one raw sugar credit equals 1 ton of raw sugar. And basically the way they do, we have an online platform that the mills that are certified, Bonsucro certified mills, are registered and they have an account on that platform. and they can place offers to sell credits, and the buyers can place bids to buy. And whenever there is a match, the trade is realized through the platform, and then the buyer can make claims about their support to sustainable sugarcane. So this is a very effective way for buyers to achieve procurement targets, particularly in scenarios where they cannot access the physical certified product, either because of logistics or trade regulations and other reasons. Next slide, Rick. So we think this is an important opportunity as well for Pakistan. So companies can promote their involvement in sustainable sugarcane production through the claims. And companies in Pakistan, as I mentioned, can search, bid, and buy credits through the online platform, bypassing complexities in the trading of physical certified product. And this is a very useful tool for countries which are starting on the certification journey. It takes time to implement the standard, but in the meantime, there is an economic return, and this can help scale the changes to more smallholder farmers, for example, and support sustainability improvement. Also important to note for the buyers in particular that, when you buy a Bonsucro credit, you are basically rewarding a certified mill, right? Because you're buying the credits from that certified mill. But at the same time, there is a fee that is paid to Bonsucro, and a portion of that fee, 50% of the fee, goes into the investment fund that I mentioned earlier. So basically, at the same time that you are rewarding a certified mill, you're also investing in a non-certified mill that is committed to that process. So it's kind of a cyclical and scalable approach to support the sector. So yeah, we think credits can be an important component of that journey for companies in Pakistan as well. Next slide, I think. Yeah, thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rafael. Okay, regarding the collaboration opportunities, all right. So here is a list, all right. So for any stakeholders, if you are keen, okay, to move forward to sustainability, okay, this global trend and direction, you can join Bonsucro, right? Join this global networking, global platform. And for yourself, if it's relevant, you are the mills or farmers or trading companies, right? You can achieve, all right, Bonsucro certification. Or if you are the buyers, as Rafael has mentioned, you can support, okay, your supply chain, to join the Bonsucro and to achieve Bonsucro certification, right? And there are a lot of technical trainings to mills and farmers, all right? So mills and farmers can join, and also, all the stakeholders can support such kind of training events, all right? Support the cane sugar, as I mentioned, the supply chain on journey towards certification. Okay, there are a lot of Bonsucro events like this webinar. We also have a physical global week. It's a hold due to COVID-19, but we will have definitely, okay, post COVID-19. It's a very welcome for all the stakeholders, okay, to join such kind of global, regional, and the country events, okay, initiated or co-hosted by Bonsucro. Okay, and I highlighted two projects in Thailand and Pakistan, right? You can initiate and support improvement programs, okay, for the mills, for the smallholder farmers, anything relevant to cane sustainability or sugar, supply chain sustainability, okay, including, the continuous improvement programs, okay, related to social challenges, all right, labor rights, water, land, environment, soil, etc. All right, and the Bonsucro is also participating in and also initiating a lot of research work, and we also provide develop a lot of reports to a lot of stakeholders regarding the countries on cane, sugar sustainability. It's also a great area to have collaboration together with all of you. All right. And as I mentioned, there are a lot of tools, okay, can be developed to help mills, to help the smallholder farmers or even big farmers on sustainability, right? Digital platforms, mobile tools, there are a lot of chances, okay, we can find opportunity to collaborate together. And Raphael just highlighted the credit trading, all right, plus the certified sugar trading, all right. These are the two very important pillars from a commercial perspective, all right, for the buyers, for the mills, for the smallholder farmers, all right, to grow up, to move smoothly on the direction of sustainability. And definitely, if you are the member, you know, with certain condition, you can make on or off product claims, all right, to enhance your market competitiveness, all right, and to have more, you know, potential demand from your potential clients. So this is just a quick list of the opportunities, all right, that we can explore and collaborate. Okay, so now next a couple of minutes, I would like to open for any questions, comments, and suggestions. Liz, could you unmute all the participants?
I think I might. Sorry, Rick.
Yeah.
We have some questions on the Q&A. We can start with those, but then maybe.
Oh yeah, please. Sorry,
yeah.
Because I don't see the Q&A. Yeah, please go ahead.
No, that's fine. And then maybe if someone wants to ask their question, you know, verbally, if you can raise your hand, we will unmute you individually. Because yeah, we cannot unmute everyone at the same time. Okay, so maybe going through the open questions, we answered some of the questions in writing. So if you go to the Q&A button on the bottom of your screen, you'll see that there are 7 answered questions there. And then we have some open questions. So we can maybe start with the first one. And I think Nicola will take that one. So Nicola, what are the key benefits of Bonsucro certification?
Thank you, Raphael. So I think Dr. Zahir presented the case with a very Rick on what it could bring to a mill and to a farm to implement the Bonsucro standard and certification. So the standard is really driven to provide a framework for operators to know how to address some of the key issues about water sustainability, water efficiency, having metrics on what to target and what to achieve in terms of the quality of cane, fertilizer management, GHG emissions, which links a lot to the cost of production. So this is really driving and giving a robust and now quite well used set of points and practices to implement at the mill, at the farm level, to work toward those improvements. So it's really taking it as a working document. Okay, how can we improve our production and what can we do to achieve better efficiency of production and at the farm at the mill level. So it's really looking at, you know, you will drive towards reduction of diesel use, as we saw in Brazil. We improve yield of production. We saw a decrease of water consumption, water efficiency, decrease of accident rates, which are very damaging to the efficiency of the mills, of the farms. Every time you have a worker that have to go off sick, it's damaging the working schedule and logistics, and so on. And another less measurable one is the relationship with the farmers. Is really, and we saw that in Thailand a lot, is how millers really join forces with the farmers on all of the topics covered by the standard, not only the volume of cane delivered during the harvest, is really linking and working in collaboration with the farmers to understand their reality of production and reflecting with them, bringing them solutions to be more sustainable, to be more resilient. And I think Dr. Zahir could speak as well for the project he runs in Pakistan on how there was a lot of reflection on how we can diversify, improve the production of the farmers to the benefit of the farmers, but as well to the long-term viability of the cane production, which is what the mill is expecting as well to achieve.
Yeah, just one more point. Okay, as I mentioned, the Bonsucro standards and certification are well accepted by almost all, you know, global brands, global buyers. So it means if you achieve Bonsucro certification, okay, it can meet the needs from a lot of your existing buyers or the future potential buyers. All right, because sustainable sourcing of cane or sugar, that's a commitment from more and more brands globally. So definitely it's a big advantage for achieving Bonsucro certification, which means one certification can meet a lot of needs from different clients.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, and Rafael, just a minute. Because that question that what are the benefits of Bonsucro certification, that was actually posted before my presentation. So it was partly answered by me and partly by Rick and Nicholas. So I think that is adequately answered. There is another question that I would like to address with your permission, and that is that is it possible to share any one best practice before and after Bonsucro certification from layer sugar mills? So yes, there are actually many. I would like to particularly here mention two things. One is the irrigation scheduling. We, you can say, introduced a very simple field-based irrigation scheduling method of pan evaporation irrigation scheduling. That's very, you can say, popular among Australian sugarcane growers. So that actually is something that can be installed on the farm, and that is very easy to understand and follow by the farmer, irrespective of what literacy level that he has. There is no need for any sensor or anything like that. So irrigation scheduling, we were able to reduce, you can say, water by 30%. So we achieved the same or even better yield by using 30% less water. That is one thing. And the other glaring example was that of a trash shredder machine, because the problem with the farmers was that when we told them not to burn the trash, they said that we can't manage it because its nature is fluffy and this and that is not manageable in the field. So with the help of those partner mills and some engineering firm, we introduced the trash shredder machine. So that machine now convert it into a trash mulch. So instead of you can say harvesting the negatives of burning the trash, the farmers, they are now realizing the benefits of a very good natural mulch. So these are only two examples, and if as I said, we can discuss it more with the sugar industry colleagues in Pakistan anytime, because we have a very limited time for this webinar. Over to you, Rafael. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zahir. So I'll take the next question, which was if there is any premium on Bonsucro certified sugar. So Bonsucro as an organization, we don't require, we don't set mandatory premiums. There are two reasons for that. So the first one is that the aim or the mission of Bonsucro is to make sustainable sugarcane the default. We don't want it to be a special market and niche product, but we want it to be everywhere and easily accessible. And yeah, so premiums are a barrier to that standardization, let's say, in the sector. The second reason is that the premiums that exist, and they play an important role in the change process, right, in supporting the farms and the mills, they are very different depending on the local context. So if you think about it, for example, the first mill certified in Brazil, it was a very progressive mill already. They had to change just a little bit to get certified. So the costs of certification for that mill were low, and therefore there is nothing that would be added as a premium to cover those certification costs. Whereas if you look at mills that are just starting their journey now, they might have substantial costs to implement the sustainability practices. And if there are costs in that way, then a premium can be useful. Now, for us, the premium is a discussion, as a part of a conversation between the mill, the farmers, and their clients, right? At the end, it is on the clients providing that support. That said, as I mentioned, we have a credit trading system, And if you think about it, when you produce certified sugar, you can sell either as physical product or as a credit, right? And if you sell as a credit, it means that you are selling the credit and selling your physical product as conventional sugar. So in that way, the credit is kind of like a premium. But yeah, I think the simple answer is we don't set mandatory premiums, but this is something that can be discussed with your clients based on your reality and what you need to change to become certified. Okay, thank you. So Nicola, would you like to answer the question on activities for farmers based on the audit experience? Although we did answer some of that already. Would you like to add anything else?
No, yeah, I think we've answered that question with all the why implementing Bonsucro, and Dr. Zahia explained as well what changes were made with the farmers he worked with. In general, I think working in the big challenges would be in the context of Bonsucro, and to answer to another question that was asked is implementing the standard. I think a lot of effort is put in training and supporting the smallholder farmers in understanding why they should change their practices, and demonstrating that the practices that are implemented are worthwhile trying and implementing. And Dr. Zahia can speak about the whole effort of engaging with the farmers, individual farmers, and convincing them, demonstrating them, testing new practices that will on the long term be very beneficial to them. But this capacity building that is very, that requires some effort from the extension team and the external experts who come to support the sustainability journey. The other point is, of course, water. Water resources is a key critical element into the sugarcane sector in Pakistan. So it's reflecting on how to better manage the water resources and adapt them to the condition of production is critical, and it's as well a big focus point into the Volsupra Standards.
Thank you, Nicholas. So we have two other questions. So the first one is why to go for Bonsucro certification. I think we spoke about several different reasons. So there is, of course, the benefits to farmers and mills. There is the point about because buyers are asking for it and they want assurance that their suppliers are carrying out effective due diligence and mitigating risks. So yeah, I think that there are many reasons why go for Bonsucro certification. Also, when you look at sugar specifically, or sugarcane, Bonsucro is by far the largest system and the most recognized and widely implemented sustainability standard for sugarcane. So yeah, I don't know, Rick, would you like to add anything to reasons why to go for Bonsucro certification? Or doctors are here, or Nicholas, any of you?
Yeah, I think a lot of reasons have been mentioned during the webinar already, right? Commercially and then socially, right? And more and more buyers are committed to source, sugar sustainably produced, right? This is one big reason. And Bonsucro standard certification are most, accepted by most buyers globally. So you can achieve one certification and meet the requirements, sustainable sourcing requirements from most buyers, most brands globally. And this is a global trend, right? No one can stop. And also it's a chance to enhance your leadership in the sustainability, right? Which is a critical factor of your competitiveness in the market. All right. So and this, as I mentioned, this is a trend. If you can occupy a position earlier, it means you will be more competitive, from a long-term perspective. So and also it's good for the mills, for the farmers to improve the productivity, right? So there are a lot of reasons we have mentioned. We will share the dates, okay, today. So you can also refer after the webinar.
Thank you, Rick. So I see we have more questions coming up, but I know we already are past the time. So Rick, what would you like to do? Should we try to answer those final 3 questions and then end, or?
Yeah, the final, let's finish these final 3 questions. And
Okay.
if you have any further questions, you can write to us and we will answer you, okay, by email, or you can call us, you know, we will leave the contact information.
Okay, so I'll start with the first one. So the question was, in Pakistan, sugar prices are fluctuating on a daily basis. How is it possible to use the credit trading? So it's important to note that the credit trading is not based on real market prices. So it's a market out and of itself. It's all done online, and all the prices are, the trades are transparent, so you can see the latest trades, but it's not connected to the physical market at all. It's a completely separate trading system. So I will put on the chat the link to the credit trading platform where you can see the details. There's a lot of useful resources, questions, presentations, and tutorials. So yeah, you can go through to that website and check there. I'll just put the link on the chat shortly. So the next question is, in Pakistan, millers purchases sugarcane from farmer, ignoring the sugar in the cane, whereas in progressive countries, millers purchases the sugar from farmers, ignoring the sugarcane weight. This is a major problem in Pakistan as regards sugar per hectare is concerned. Dr. Zahir, I'm not sure, do you understand the question? I think it's related to the form of payment for sugarcane. Do you see that as an issue for sustainability?
Yeah, that's actually related to that, you know, in Pakistan, sugarcane is purchased by the industry on weight basis, and there is no consideration given to the sucrose content. So, but I think I would then re-emphasize my point that the real thing is that we have to improve our resource use efficiency at the farm, because that will eventually end up a win-win situation for everybody. Because if we are using the resources like water, nutrients, and everything on, you know, a recommendation basis or on optimized basis, they eventually mean more weight of sugarcane, more millable weight, as well as more high sucrose content. So it's a win-win situation for the industry as well as the farmer. So out of our experience, I can say it with confidence that this is not an issue as far as achieving sustainability is concerned. So this is not a forum to, you know, address to this question that why is that, why sucrose, you can say, is not considered while paying to the farmers. That's not, you know, related to this forum. But as far as this practice is concerned, if we achieve the sustainability targets through optimization of inputs, then we will have, you know, a win-win situation for both industry as well as farmers.
Thank you, Dr. Zahir. And the final question now, Nicola, I believe you want to answer it. So the question was, in Brazil, yield per hectare is high because of heavy rainfall, and in Pakistan, yield is less due to less rainfall and drought. Why we compare Brazil with Pakistan in regards to sugarcane yield?
Yeah, thank you, Rafael. Thank you for the question. It's a great question. And indeed, the climatic condition between Brazil and Pakistan can be compared, and the achievement in terms of yields as well can be compared. And this is why in the design of the production standards, we have taken that into account. So when we look at the yield to be achieved by producers in Pakistan, we take into consideration their climatic condition, the climatic zone in which the farmer is growing cane. And that will determine the objective of yield that is based on observed yield achieved by farmers in the same climatic zone, by 50% of the farmers in that same climatic zone. So the standard is really meant to be adapted to the condition of production, and to set the bar and achieve and the objective of productivity at that relevant level expected. When we use Brazil in the communication earlier, it's to inform what certified operators have achieved. So it gives as well an estimate or a sense of what improvements have been observed into certified operation, knowing very well that the condition of production in Brazil versus the one in Pakistan are very different. It doesn't nonetheless prevent Pakistan sector to as well benefit from the implementation of the standard and working on sustainability.
Just to add to Nicholas, to the person who raised this question, the yield target, for example, is different in Laya compared to Bakar. So, as Nicholas said, that, standard takes care of the growing conditions while setting, you can say, the benchmark targets. So that point is very well taken care of by the standard. Just to endorse what Nicholas said.
Thank you, Dr. Zahir. So with that, Rick, over to you.
Yeah, okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you very much for your patience. We are running out of time, but I can see still there are more questions coming out. So please write to me or write to Dr. Zahir. All right, here you can see the contact, the email address for me. Okay, we promise we will answer all the questions from you. Okay, thank you again, everyone, and have a great day. So this is the over of this webinar. Thank you very much.